Hi, Mike and Jeff here with that'sgoodenough.for me.com. We are doing our Who's Zooming.
That's one you have to keep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one you're going to keep.
That's the B-roll. All right, Mike and Jeff here with that'sgoodenough.for me.com. We're doing our Who's Zooming Who series. We're joined with Brian Wahlstrom from 1 Week Records and Bandaid Brigade. How are you doing, man?
Awesome.
And
Thanks for having me.
Scorpios.
And Scorpios. You know, this is my fifth Zoom, and I'm getting worse at introducing guests.
I think it's becoming better because of it, so I wouldn't complain.
Well, it's because you're a man that wears many hats, Brian, and I admire that. So I guess for starters, you told me 2 Saturdays ago when I talked to you on the phone about doing a Zoom that you only drink on Saturdays. Can we talk about this?
Was that a lie? I lied to you straight up. Well, maybe I was trying to only drink on Saturdays. I drink heavily on Saturdays. Not like, fully heavily, but like that's my drinking day. Okay. I'll have a cocktail though during the week. Okay. I'm a liar. I lied to you when we first met. That's not a good way to set up a friendship.
We're talking about.
Hey man, good to talk to you. I don't drink unless it's Saturday.
Well, I thought you had this like big methodical thing planned out where you could have all these plans for Saturday. But
that I do that. I do that. I do. Yeah.
Hey, looks like we got. Oh. Looks like we have a special guest.
I have a one of two. Like, do I have to readjust my screen? Oh, some guy named Randall.
How's it going?
Hey.
We have a voice from a man named Randall.
Wahlstrom. No, that's not Wahlstrom. I got to put my reading glasses on here, guys. I'm kind of old.
I got mine on the top of my head, so just keep flipping them up and down.
There we go.
Hey. We
How's
still
it going?
can't.
You can't hear me?
We can hear you. We can't see you.
Oh, even better. So I'm really killing this.
We have a Joey impersonator on the line, everyone.
Yep.
It's kind of funny if you never.
Hey.
Oh, damn. Where are you? Paradise.
In Hawaii. Right? I'm in Hawaii right now, but it's in California. There's all these indigenous palm trees around me.
I noticed I noticed when you and Brian were announcing the stage event the day before, you got a lot of grass and weeds coming out between the cracks on around your pool, man. You got to take care of that.
Hey, it's not my pool.
Yeah, that's actually my problem and not really my problem. But yes, I'm looking at them right now and it's so bad that you can't do anything about it. It's like,
is it cracking? It actually cracking the surface of the pool? Is it that bad? That kind of thing?
Probably.
Or just all around?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Lanus, man.
Get it together, Brian. Come on, man.
For those of you just joining us, we're talking to Joey Cape and Brian Wahlstrom about concrete and weeds.
Pool,
pure excitement.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you had anybody watching, they're like, I'm out of here. These dudes are talking about pools.
Hey Joey, dude, this stuff. It's my new
favorite, I don't think I've actually tried it yet. Is it good?
It's good. I think you would approve.
Brian,
maybe I'll try it tonight.
Can I inquire quickly? That bottle looks, I mean, it could be perspective and everything. What is the volume of that bottle?
Yeah, good question.
It's 700 pounds. Do you mean like it's just what is this, a 750?
So it's like a wine bottle.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like it's the same size as a Jameson bottle, I think.
Okay.
But it's only 30% alcohol.
Right.
It's 60 proof.
I just burped into my throat.
Awesome.
And you put it's something that's good for blending with coffee, for like an Irish coffee or something.
Yeah.
Right? It's their take on something a little. Is it sweet?
That's what I'm saying. It's like the perfect amount of sweet. It's not too bad.
You could probably just drink it on ice.
That's what I'm about to do when I finish this White Claw on ice. Why am I drinking that? I don't know.
Because
my Saturday drink.
What color is the White Claw that Mike's holding
Cheers.
up now? I don't know.
He's doing an apricot.
It's ruby red.
Oh, grapefruit?
Grapefruit.
Nice.
So
It's got beer.
So
Mike,
Joey,
it
was funny.
I have to ask what all this stuff behind Mike is. Are they cassettes?
Those are Nintendo games.
Yeah.
They're game. Wow, that's
Yeah.
insane. Damn, you got a collection.
Yeah.
Thanks. My buddy was down over here once. We were working on a song, and this is like a storage closet that I turn into an office. And he pointed at my video games and he's like, "So what's your family gonna say when you're fucking crushed to death by your own addiction?" And this all comes tumbling down. Yeah, I'm a big fucking dork, so I collect video games and work.
No, it's cool. You have a lot more to do than most during the quarantine thing, you know.
I haven't played a single video game since quarantine because my 3-year-old just won't let me do it.
Oh, I got you.
He's kind of in charge of my life, and when she finally goes to bed, my wife and I are like, "Do you want to drink tequila?"
Yeah, he just drinks.
Yeah.
He just drinks after that.
I totally remember that. I remember that well.
Yeah,
they control you all day, and when they're finally gone, all you can really do is have a drink and watch Netflix. Because you're kind of a vegetable.
Well, it
He's
sucks.
so bored.
It sucks because from my perspective, like I work from home. Besides running the website, I am an illustrator, and now my wife and my daughter are both here. And my daughter, she's like 8, so she's not that in tune with technology, but she has to do the online schooling. So it's like, okay,
right.
I'm going to help her all day, and then by the end of the day, I'm like, all right, I should probably draw some stuff for some people. I'm like, but fuck, I'm just going to have a beer and go to sleep.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought at the beginning of all this, I don't know if Brian and I have talked about this a lot, but I thought, oh, this is kind of, it's bad, obviously, but it's in a way can be turned into a positive for me. I thought, I'm just going to write like 3 records, man. Like band's not touring until next year. I'm just going to write. And I got like 3 weeks in and I was like, I don't want to do anything. I just feel like like frozen somehow. And I ended up finally starting to kickstart, and now I'm getting things accomplished. But it's like, you know, right. Philosophically, we're coming out of this thing, and I sort of feel like I blew it. But what are you gonna do?
Don't worry, I think there's another round. There might be another round coming.
Yeah, it's
exactly.
At least long enough for an EP or something.
I got my Thundercats porn in, so Mike saw the Thundercats porn.
Oh, good, yeah.
Yeah, I'll show it to you.
You got my attention.
Yeah.
Now, you guys got together recently for some rehearsals and stuff. Brian had told me about that.
Yeah.
He worded it to me as the most professional work environment experience that you guys have had together. You want to elaborate on that?
Well, you go, Brian. I think it's actually pretty cool. If you're being
it's cynical. Very cool. I meant it in a great way. What I meant by it was it's the only time we've rehearsed and not gotten hammered, like either after or We had 2 full days of solid rehearsal, like with anything
completely
else. We
sober.
broke for dinner.
Yeah, that's true.
It was cool. We got a lot of fun.
I liked your rehearsal space too. That was a good shot. The cardboard boxes were a nice little addition.
Where are you? Are you there now? No, you're at home now.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Saturday.
No, but I sent him a picture of the setup when you weren't there, like how you had the soundproofing.
my awesome baffling job with cardboard boxes.
Yeah, it was like the 1 week studio, just like a weird. Put that thing there. It'll block in this weird sound right here.
That was my daughter's ballet bar, which she never used, and so I just converted it with duct tape into a baffle for sound.
Oh.
And the thing about it is that it would last through like one of the 1 weeks, and then the next guy would fall prey to it collapsing on him, because it was like this big wave kind of thing. And eventually like the duct tape would just give and it would go like a jaw. I can't remember who it bit first, but yeah, it was fun.
Now that reminds me of, we were trying to, I did a Zoom with Adam Lorbach from Homegrown this week, and he had rigged his phone. He had duct taped his phone to a ruler and then duct taped that ruler to a mic stand. So he had a tripod. And then in the middle of the, like, as we were getting it set up, he realized he was in like vertical mode and he wanted to turn his phone, but he couldn't do it.
After all that work.
Yeah. So you gotta hand it to him. But it's funny because he was in this super nice studio that he has, and it looked rad. It was like a nice backdrop for a musician to be talking. But if you saw what he was looking at was like a ruler and duct tape and like just a bunch of bullshit that he put together to get a camera, which I think is hilarious.
That's great.
Brian, I listened to your new Bandaid Brigade record for the first time today, after Jeff told me that I'm an asshole and that I had been sleeping on your band entirely. And that record is so good.
Thank you, man. When you mentioned yesterday, you're like, or no, it was today. You said, that I want to ask you about that Bandaid Brigade thing Fogel's working on. I'm like, actually, that's been done for a while.
I had no idea. But once again, I have to plug Fogel in yet another Zoom because that record sounds immaculate. And it sounds timeless. It sounds like it could have come out 30 years ago.
Right on. Yeah. So, we kind of didn't know what we were doing going into it, and we just put it all down. And Fogel, he has a good like a really peaceful setup to do a long project. It's kind of weird to go in there for like one day and try and get something done, but we've set aside 10 days and we pretty much lived there. And I'd never done that before. Like I don't think Zach or I or Paul had done like a real record like that where we just hang out and every minute of every day is about recording, so that was a first. And so I think it was super rad. And, it was just fun, super fun project. We're going to start writing another one, like probably end of this month or next month or something. So, cause believe it, it's been 2 years. Yeah. It's like weird. We finished it a year and a half ago. It just came out in January, but we're already ready to like do something else. So hopefully.
Zach had mentioned working with Fogel on it. And so I think I was kind of confused as to what the time frame was. And then of course I'm an asshole, so I didn't even look you guys up on Spotify until today.
Oh, well, thank you. You must have, I mean, it's slow growing, I guess, it's like, that's cool by me. We didn't really have a label or anything to help promote it. So we're just like, whatever, it'll kind of get its way out there and see what happens.
I think the pedigree that you guys have behind you already, though, kind of pushed it really hard. I know when it was announced originally, I was not with That's Good Enough for Me. I was working for Punk News at the time, but I got wind of it, and there's a lot of push on it. So I think not even having a label, there's a lot of coverage and a lot of people. So we tried to do the things a label would do, like get an actual publicist to say, hey, we got some help from friends. It's cool because Zach, has that Fat Records connection, and they were super supportive, even though it wasn't like on the label. They all, everyone was super down, and so it's been rad.
Oh yeah. Now speaking of recording experiences, Joey, I've read a lot about Railer, how you guys just kind of rushed to the studio and just pushed an album out as fast as you could. Could you elaborate on that a little?
It was just, that's what it was. It was kind of, we felt like we were overdue for a record, and I went into the studio with almost no material, and a studio that I spent a lot of time in LA, and I just made these demos, direct. Oh God, there's the hugest rat running all around me right now. It's such a bummer.
Get a picture of him.
I mean,
a rat?
He is now. Yeah. He's in these bushes over here. But he keeps running all around me. Like, he doesn't seem to give a shit. He doesn't care that I'm here.
They say they're going crazy. Yeah, they're going hungry. They're getting hungry. All the restaurants are closed.
He's thinking the same thing. He's like, God, there's this man in my backyard.
Just get out of here, man.
Yeah, but anyway, I kind of whipped together however many songs, and then Joe Raposo, our bass player, wrote a couple, the music of the songs, and it was like really intensive, we did all the writing happened within a week or two, and then we were in the studio, and we recorded it pretty fast too, faster than we usually do. But I feel like there's something good about that every once in a while. You have to be in the right frame of mind, and the band has to have the right chemistry to pull it off, but because it can backfire for sure. But it feels so good when you record an album that way, because there's not a lot of second guessing. It feels natural. And I think because of that, the record actually sounds a lot like our band. You know, it just sounds really honest. And I was worried the whole time. The whole time I kept saying, well, we'll see. You know, experiment like America. Let's see if it fails. I don't know. It might.
Still waiting to find out.
We're still waiting. Yeah, but I think the band, we were all really happy with it, so it's cool. It felt good.
Yeah, no, it's a fantastic record. And Brian, I'm gonna ask you what I asked Zach, and I think maybe he asked me to delete it from the Zoom, but hang or railer?
A hang or railer in terms of like what? My
just pick one. Yeah, pick one.
Should I leave?
No, I already said it. I whispered it, so there's no way you could hear it. No, I have a special kind of connection with Hang, just because there was a period of part of it. Joey was at my couch working on a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, that was a totally different thing. I mean,
totally.
I was developing those songs for like 2 years, and I spent months working on a lot of that record with Brian, because Brian and I kind of have a little bit. We have sort of a team. We work together on a lot of our both of our respective music things, and yeah, the railer thing was different. So I could imagine why Brian is, you know, Brian had a stamp.
Yeah. Well, they're both fantastic.
I've been a Lagwagon fan like forever, and it's so I don't look at them like what's you know, versus. It's more like, oh, this reminds me of this. Like Railer reminds me a lot of like the Doug years, you know what I mean, or something like that. It's like I feel like, oh, that reminds me of this time in my life, and that's kind of cool when you have a band that has so many rad records that they start to like remind you of older records of theirs. You know, that's pretty fucking awesome. So it's more like that, and I was kind of like a Haas more than a trash guy, I guess. I don't know. You know, I'm a nerdy dude when it comes to Lagwagon. Don't tell Joey.
Really, I think it's more of a trash than a Haas.
Really?
I'm not weighing in here.
Well, because
I meant my preference. I was
okay.
Example. I was just making it. I'm a Haas guy. Well,
when you guys say,
I'm in everyone's.
When you say more of a trash than a Haas, are we talking lovers or records?
Well, could be both.
She was more of a trash than a Haas.
So if I may quickly interject a bit, like, you know, Joey, you talked about the relationship that you and Brian have working together. I kind of wanted to venture into that a little bit. The first time I ever saw Brian live was when you guys had played that first show on the acoustic tour in Lyon, France, on that little party boat. Yeah. My wife and I were both in France at the time. She's a scientist, so I got to travel the world a bit. And then we saw you again. Yeah. And we saw you again a year later on the next boat up the river. Like the Mistral was the first one, and then the next one, I think it was called the Ayers Rock at the time. It's got a new name.
Jeez, yeah, I don't know. That's a funny thing.
But I wanted to ask, so Brian, that's my first experience of you kind of integrating yourself into this scene, but you've become like a really big part of it. People know you for the music you do with all these different acts and with Joey and everything. I was curious how you got into that. And
he's sitting right here, man.
So that's it.
Wow. Well, Brian had a band back in the 90s called Hornswaggled, which was, you know, kind of a 90s punk, for lack of better terminology. I mean, that's what people say, right? And in San Diego, and I think we probably played together all the way back then at some point. Maybe,
I mean,
I don't know.
Yeah,
but we didn't know each other, but you know.
Yeah,
you've been around for a long time, and you've known a lot of these people. And you and I met at Chris's wedding because he hired us to perform at his wedding. And the first time we ever played together was there, and it was cool. I mean, it would have been totally awkward if you weren't there.
It's kind of like a
You know?
weird story because I had done I was super into, you know, punk music and making punk music, and our band did pretty well, like Hornswoggle in San Diego, and we were super stoked on it and it was fun. But then it got to a point where I'm like, all right, it became not fun because of kind of some of the people in the scene and just kind of some of the stuff that we were trying to do. It seemed like we were trying too hard in a thing that wasn't fitting. And for me, I kind of get not bored, but just like, okay, this isn't working. So I'm going to change my focus. And so I went back to school and actually like studied opera and which is bizarre. I don't know how I fell into that, but I kind of focused on classical music. Originally, I wanted to study composition and do like film scoring and stuff, and so I started with that, but I met someone that introduced me to classical voice. And then it wasn't until way later, like 4 or 5 years after I had kind of like left punk, well, at least I was always a punk rock fan, of course, and it's been a part of my outlook on life forever, but I kind of left the creative part of it. And then randomly my friend Chris, he was doing real well, and he's like, man, my dream would be to get Joey Cape to play at our wedding. He's like, you used to be in a punk band. Do you know how I can get hold of him? I'm like, fuck, I don't know, man. I'm like, I'll with my demo, I'll just throw it at his face. Your contact information.
No, it was Jen, his wife, at a Bad Astronaut show in San Diego. She was standing right in front of us when we were playing, and I was talking, and in between songs, she was really hammered, and she said, how much do I have to pay you to play my wedding or something like that? And I was trying to ignore her, but just because, I don't know, I didn't want to talk about that. And then all of a sudden she said something like, how about $5,000? And I just stopped talking and went, when's the wedding?
Yeah.
That's a lot more than I make at a show. Let's do this. That kind of thing, and it was really funny, and I didn't expect anything to come of it, but then, I got contact, or they got my contact info, and then I don't know, then it just happened. That's how Brian and I met. We played that together, we stayed in touch, and then there was, I don't actually remember what happened after that, but somehow or another we ended up
you played
shows.
in New York. Yeah, you were going to be in New York on tour with Snodgrass, and you said, hey, we're going to be in New York in like a month, why don't you play the gig with us at Maxwell's in New Jersey? And so I
was
came
that
and
with
played.
Corey Brandon?
No, it was Mike Hale.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then basically I'm like, sure, what should I play? And I'm like, I don't know, here's some songs. And he sent me like a couple like songs. I played like 2 or 3 songs with you or something. It was fun.
Yeah.
And then, but then it was after that show, you're like, hey, we're doing this Europe tour, me, John, and you should come. And then I'm like, okay, yes, whatever I have to do to make that happen. And then like 2 days later, you're like, oh, hey, guess what? My friend Tony's going to join us on the tour. I hope that's cool. All right. And I'm like, Tony who? He's all, no, Tony Sly. He's in this band. You probably, I don't know, might have heard of him. I'm like, fucking Tony Sly. So that was the craziest shit because I'm like, trying to figure out, because I was in school still, so I had to figure out how to get out for like a month. But my school is pretty awesome about like professional leave and stuff. You could like leave to do like real things, and this was definitely a real thing. So I fly out there, and I kind of joined the tour like 2 or 3 days after it had started, so they had already kind of gotten the rhythm and chemistry of the tour going. And I get picked up by Oisey, the tour manager, and I'm like freaking out because I'm like, I don't know if I can play the songs. You know what I mean? Like we hadn't rehearsed. It was kind of just, you're good enough. Just cruise out and set up the piano and we'll figure it out. And yeah, it was pretty wild. And that was the first one. And I think it went okay. I'd be embarrassed to listen to how I played those songs.
I'm sure it did. I mean, we were just drinking, I mean, it was,
yeah, it was a party.
It's pretty loose, man.
Well, I mean, to be honest, I'm not gonna lie. Like the first time I saw you guys on the Mistral, like John came out first. He played a couple songs, and then like you all kind of came out afterwards. And then like Brian comes out kind of behind. He's tucked in the corner of this tiny little boat because it's only like 10
meters
wide.
We called that place like the fire hazard.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
what's gonna happen when it's freaking thing?
Yeah, there was nowhere to get out.
But it was
like a little hole, like a little window.
It was spectacular, and it was like it's funny because I hadn't been to that intimate of a show in a long time, especially to kind of lick your boots. Like such luminaries of the scene, you know, John, Joey, and Tony. You know, like I was an Armchair Martian fan for a very long time before I even knew of No Use for a Name, but I knew Lagwagon beforehand. And then like Brian comes out and he's tucked in the corner, and I'm just watching it the whole time. I'm like, this guy shouldn't be. No one puts Brian in the corner. It was a great time because the next time you guys came through, there came that point when it was like, Brian, like everyone leaves the stage and Brian's there, and he's like, okay, I'm going to either sing an original song or a cover song. And I had already seen the video of you playing Life on Mars from like 3 days before in the tour. And I'm just like, Life on Mars! And you're like, so you played it, and I feel kind of.
That's a hard song, man.
But you killed it. You killed it.
My look was probably like, oh boy.
I know, you killed it, and I feel kind of bad now because I didn't let you play your original song.
No, Life on Mars is definitely good enough for sure. Yeah, Joey, actually, I think you're the one that suggested that I do that song way back. Remember?
Maybe,
like,
yeah.
Do the Bowie song. I'm like, oh, Bowie.
Yeah.
Huh. Now,
I do love that song.
My Zoom meeting that's going to publish on YouTube like this upcoming Friday is with Mickey Rickshaw. They're like a Patty Punk band. The singer Mike recently became the singer of the Rum Jacks, which is this like legendary multi-continental like Celtic punk band. And so during our Zoom, he talked a lot about like imposter syndrome, you know, where you reach this point where you're playing with people that were legends when you were younger, and just kind of looking back at it retrospectively. So it seems like you've eased into being bandmates and friends with these guys pretty effortlessly, at least to us. But I understand that that's a thing. That's a real feeling.
Yeah, it took a while to feel comfortable, to be honest. And a lot of it wasn't the music stuff, and it wasn't even like the holy shit, that guy wrote all the records that I grew up on and influenced my whole musical life and taste. And now I have a chance to talk to this person about all this stuff. That was pretty amazing. But it's more like you realize like all the pressure that they're in too in their own lives. And so it's like, it's not like you just jump on a tour and they're just having these, you know, what everyone thinks, you know, oh, they're in a band, they're so totally set like financially and all that stuff. It's like, I mean, everyone's going through something, and, you know, whether it's finance or just life or whatever. And so it's more like, that's what was really cool about it, was becoming close on those things, you know, and just becoming real friends. And then the music thing was, oh, well, of course we're going to play some music. That's rad. But, you know, becoming close with these guys, and they're all such, well, you know, everyone that I've met through Joey for sure, but beyond that has been just the sweetest people. You know, I just got a text from KJ Jansen. I'm just like, fuck, how awesome is that? That guy's the raddest dude ever.
No, and that's kind of
we should use him as the challenge guy.
Oh yeah. Well, no, and that's kind of a similar situation that I've been in, just trying to establish these Zoom meetings, because like, I don't know, I just sent a Facebook message to like Jay Navarro from Suicide Machines. I was like, dude, your record's so fucking good. Nobody knows about this yet, but I'm trying to do Zoom meetings with people. And he was like, here's my cell phone number. Give me a call, dude. And I'm like, are you sure?
Right.
Like, so just reaching out to people. And I think maybe it's a little bit because the pandemic hit and everybody's sitting around not, you know, wondering what to work on. But just my sense of community with punk artists grown exponentially in the last month. I've been having these conversations with people, so I kind of identify with it in that way. But obviously, I don't get to share the fucking stage with you guys. But
no one's sharing the stage right now.
I guess that's also true. One question that I'm asking everybody: what was the last actual, not like a live stream? What was the last actual show that you attended or played? And I'll start with you, Jeff.
Oh, man, it's been a while. I think I saw, so American Television, they're a bunch of great guys out of Washington, D.C. They're on tour, and they came through and played at the Mill Hill Basement, which is in Trenton, just like southwest of me here. And I think I was the only person in the club who was not actually affiliated or personal friends with the bands. there's like 4 people there. But like, so the opening acts were like, guys from the Crypt Keeper 5 and things like that. And so it was a fun show, and it was really laid back, but I think that's the last one I did. I really hadn't had a chance to get out past Christmas. Wasn't much going through, things were busy, and then next thing you know, everything kind of shut down. I went to my friend's wedding in Chicago, and I got Brendan Kelly to DJ it for the after party. So I got to chat with Brendan. I got to hear some of the new Lawrence Arms.
Hell yeah.
Awesome.
He brought it on his like little beat up. But other than that, yeah, that was it. That was after I saw Lagwagon in New Jersey back in October. That was like late October, I think before Halloween, and that's the last show I went to.
What about you, Joey? Last show you attended, or the last show maybe you performed?
The last show that I attended was a Lagwagon show in Australia. I think it was the last one we did before we had to rush home, before they didn't let us home, was in Melbourne at the Hi-Fi. And we went to Adelaide after that for the last show of the tour, but they started shutting everything down. And then we kind of rushed to the airport so we could get home. I mean, I think it was already in March. And it was pretty bad decision making, plans. We really shouldn't have been there, and socially irresponsible to get all these people in one place. I actually carried some guilt about that, but we were there and we thought, well, let's just finish this thing. And then of course we weren't able to finish it, but that's the last show that I attended. Trying to think of the last band I saw live. It probably would have been, usually when I'm on tour and I'm in Australia, I go out on the nights off. But I don't think I did on that tour because we were all sort of already doing the quarantine thing there, which was really weird. What did I see just before I left? Bracket played a show at the Parkside.
Was that with Mercy Music and stuff?
Yeah, I was in New York. Cool. I was in New York on tour in February, and then I came home and I had about a week off. And I think one of the nights I was home, I went and saw Bracket. I think it's so weird now because we've been in this thing for so long that my memory sucks. I can't even tell you what days they were. It
was those 2 shows they played right in a row, like one at like.
Yeah,
okay, yeah.
Yeah, and it was great. It was so fun, and I had such a blast. All these old friends came out to it, and it was a really fun night.
I'm going to seem like a fanboy here. After Lagwagon, or probably tied with Lagwagon, Bracket is one of my favorite bands.
They're great, man.
I did 2 stories on them when I worked at Punk News, and Angelo and them were they're always so forthcoming and chatting with me all the time.
Yeah, real sweethearts, and they're just they're their own thing, There's no band that really sounds like Bracket, that's hard to do, And I don't think they mean to. I think it just comes naturally to them. And I mean, great songwriting and just weird chord progressions, that you would never think of, and just all really good guys. And cool band for sure.
Yeah.
Brad. Brian, what about you, man?
Last show. We did a Bandaid Brigade show. It was a private party at Chris Vogel's studio because they had just reopened after a year of closing. They have like rehearsal rooms there, aside from the recording studio. And so it was like their first day, and so Chris invited us out to play the opening of that. And same thing as what Joey was saying. We kind of felt shitty about it. We're like, is this weird? I don't know. And Zach made a joke on stage that I thought was so funny. He's like, this is the first time ever that we're actually going to tell you guys in the audience to step back backwards. And it was pretty fun. It was fun, but like we definitely got home and just were like, all right, that's enough of that for a while.
Speaking of Fogel, that stupid like weird space punk band thing that I sent you that Fogel recorded.
Yeah, it's awesome, dude.
Thank you. Well, my band is like a 7-piece, so there's a ton of us, and we played this show in my hometown on Valentine's Day. That was my last show to be able to play. But COVID is like rising in Nebraska right now, because America opened back up and Nebraska just followed suit, and the virus is just not getting here. So, like, it fucking sucks. It's terrible.
Yeah.
Aside from my daughter needing milk every 3 weeks, I go get 2 jugs of milk. I'm trying to stay inside, but everybody around me has decided that everything's totally fine. And they're like,
are you in Omaha?
I'm in Lincoln, so 45 minutes away.
Yeah.
But it sucks. I mean, the one thing that really sucks about being in the Midwest in any ground is that anything social gets here later, whether it's a new product placement, even like everything just gets here a little later than it gets to either coast, and so everybody here is an idiot.
Even a virus.
Yeah. So when when it was like rabid in New Orleans, everybody here was hiding at home, but now everybody's touching on each other and it's flourishing. So I don't know. It sucks.
It's very weird. I saw a picture today of Vegas. I saw a picture of, Vegas being back open, of a casino with like 1,000 people in it. And I thought we got disconnected. No one wearing masks. Just like the most insane looking photo. Yeah, it's bizarre.
Well, my wife and I are like, we're getting a lot closer during this because we're kind of losing our minds together, raising the 3-year-old and stuff, and drinking a little bit more, and just having different conversations than the ones we've been having for 13 years, which is a positive thing. But I think my favorite memory that's ever going to come out of this is we decided we were going to go pick up some like curbside Vietnamese sandwiches, and we drove past this local park, and there was like 20 people playing shirts versus skins basketball out at the park and like touching each other. And my wife just went, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
That's so great. I love it.
Jesus.
Because, you developed it, and you three have, of course, developed it too during the quarantining, where you start to like really like point your nose at people that aren't taking it seriously and start to judge them more.
It's just a respect thing. It's like, you just got to respect, it's like, it's weird. People their true selves come out, like
we started trying to keep count of everything by using the Freddy Krueger rhyme.
Right.
1, 2, 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you. 3, 4, lock your door. But adapting it to coronavirus. And then like we got to 10 and it was like the rhyme's done. And we're like, fuck, we got to make shit up now. Like we got to start making up our own stories because it's not stopping. New Jersey's like one of the lockdown places, like New Jersey, New York, and Connecticut.
Yeah.
So we're like, we're in, like, they're finally going to let things up on June 15th. They're going to start opening up stores. But since then, or in between now and then, we've been like full lockdown. We can go out and walk in the neighborhood, but that's about it. It's just like,
man, you should see this park right next to where I'm living is just so crowded today. It's just so crowded. Every weekend gets more crowded, but today I couldn't even find parking. And when I came back from a dog walk, and it's just hilarious. I mean, it's just, I don't know. But I think, obviously compared to New Jersey, I'm in Central California. It's pretty mellow here.
right.
LA's bad. Southern Cal, where Brian lives, is no good. SF, where I normally live, is, I think, not doing great, but doing better than LA. But Central California is really kind of low on cases, and it's not much new happening here. Still, it just looks so strange to see all these people in a park just going, "Yeah, we're back, spring break."
Yeah.
Totally.
Like,
that's what it's all about.
We're all gonna die.
They're all, well,
Yay.
that was done. All right. Yeah.
We're all dying.
Really, really quickly, Brian, in my gallery view, you're like directly below me. And throughout this entire thing, I've noticed that every time I go to touch my face, you're touching your face at that exact moment. And every time you go take a little drinky poo, I'm taking a drinky poo at the exact same time. So I just wanted to say that we're on a really good level with each other.
Oh, good. All right.
I feel really
so you're
positive.
to my left. So
okay.
Gallery view. So I don't know. Isn't that like one of those like things they teach you in business or something where it's like if you copy what the other person is doing, you can like influence. I don't know. There's some like thing about that where you like imitate and then you get influence. There's something like that.
So I got interviewed with one of my other punk bands in our practice space, and they're like, it was our college in Nebraska. And they're like, so you guys are gonna sit, and then you tall guys are gonna be in the back, and I was in the tall crew, and I knew right away I wasn't gonna talk. I was just standing there, and I was kind of pissed off. Like it's just like, why do you need the whole band to be there? Just have the personality guys talk, and I'll just I'm the drummer. Like I don't need to be there. So I was like doing this thing, and then I noticed the guy next to me, whose arms were at his side, immediately crossed his arms. So I like let go of it. And if you watch it, it looks like synchronized swimming or something.
Right.
Yeah, that is so weird when you do interviews and they request the whole band being there, and there's always a couple guys in the band that just sit there and don't talk, like they're security or something. Like,
yeah.
Just guard my buds.
And not to be super immature, but there's like a part of my nervous system where when I'm in a situation like that, my butthole is like, you need to itch me right now.
Yeah. Always a weird.
Yep, that's right.
All right, let's go around, and I just want everybody to plug a band or a record that you think needs maybe a little bit more attention during all of this stuff, especially with shows down. It's difficult to promote acts. I'm gonna go first. My buddy Greg, who I did a Zoom with, he's in my episode too. He's in a band called Apathy Cycle out of Southern California. Really, really good ska punk, political punk band. They put out a record in April, I believe. Again, my dates are fucked, but they put out a record in April. They had to cancel their entire tour to promote it, and it is really, really good. So if you're watching this, check out Apathy Cycle's self-titled record. And Jeff, you can go now.
You bastard! You know you're gonna pick me next. I don't know. I listen to so many bands, and I keep rolling back to like the classics and bands that aren't around. Yeah. So I will give a shout out to my buddies in the band Mug, which has an umlaut over the U. They run umlaut records out of the UK, not the umlaut records from the mainland EU. They just released their first new song in a while. It's an acoustic song on a compilation over in the UK, but I'm very, very happy and proud of them because it's been a long time coming. So I'm going to say Mug.
Mug.
Cool. Joey, your turn.
Moog.
Yeah.
Jesus, this question gets me every single time, and every time I get asked a question like this, when the interview's over or the hang is over like this, later I'm like, oh, and I'm texting everybody, you know what? It's this. But it is one of those things, when you're on the spot with it, it's hard to think of anything. I'm thinking of obvious things like Brian's Bandaid Brigade, Brian and Zach's band. I mean, I don't even know. I think they're self-releasing, and it's just a really cool record. It has a really interesting sound, and they, really believe in what they do. I mean, I was there firsthand witnessing them kind of bring it all together, and it's a really cool record if you want to just take a break from maybe the standard stuff you listen to, because it doesn't really quite sound like anything else, but it has a lot of throwback in it. But I'm with you, Jeff, in that I tend to sort of like go back to the drawing board, not the drawing board, but to the well. Like I started listening to in this pandemic, I started listening to a lot of Elliott Smith again, which is not new at all for me, but it's just kind of revisiting, like I'm just going to listen to all his records. I did that one day, and
it's definitely music to cheer you up, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, it's a mood changer.
Yeah. It's funny because
I mean, I did start listening to a bunch of old soul music, which is like, and I started listening to jazz and things like that in the beginning of this, because I thought when this whole thing started, I had about a week where I thought, this is going to be about educating yourself. This is going to be about bettering yourself. And for about 3 weeks, I was completely alone, just me in a hotel room. And I just started listening to all this old soul music and like R&B and then some jazz stuff, and just trying to like study it a little bit. And that's all gone now. All of that is, I mean, I have a few new Spotify playlists and stuff, but it's basically like later, yeah. That's my shitty answer. Sorry, I'll stop talking.
No, it's great. And I had to listen to a little bit of soul music to do the theme song for this Zoom series. Jeff suggested we call it "Who's Zooming Who," which is an Aretha Franklin song.
That's amazing.
And I had never heard the song before. I didn't know that she was still putting out music when like horrible '90s pop instrumentals started opening up. So it's her singing on that, and I tried to like me first it into something. It's like when you watch the episode, it's ridiculous, but
it's hilariously horrible.
Although that sounds good.
Yeah. The music is good. The music is good.
But it's presented as like ridiculous as I look right now. So Brian, you go.
All right. Well, I'm lucky because I had the three of you guys to think of my answer. Enough time to. And I'll say I got into Dog Party recently. We were supposed to do a tour with them, and we just canceled it, obviously. And unfortunately, I'm bummed because I started to listen to the album, when we found out we were going to do this run, and super into it. Great, yeah, and super nice.
Yeah,
ladies are awesome.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, please.
No, but in a sense, Dog Party, yeah, like I've been listening to them a lot too, and
Barbecue what?
You've covered them a lot at the website.
What do you make? Okay, you want me to do something?
I like that he's so old that he thinks if he puts his hand over it, he can't hear.
You gonna do that tonight? I'll do it in the frying pan. It works better.
We should let this play out. Let's see how this plays out.
No, I don't think so.
This is the content that I'm hearing.
I'll come in a little bit though. I mean, we're gonna eat later, yeah? I'm so sorry, you guys.
No, don't worry.
I think yeah. Oh, there's.
I'll be back.
There you go.
But yeah, so I've been listening to them a lot too, and I agree with you. Like it's stellar. It's stellar music.
I was kind of blown away. I'm like, how is this band not gigantic? They're probably on their way, but
they are. I think they're
such hooky songs and great attitude, just great lyrics. It's awesome. I'm bummed. I hope we get to do that tour again. Yet I think they're going to be way too big to go with us on tour next time. But we'll see. The other thing I was going to say is I got into this guy Christian Sands, who's a dude I went to school with, jazz piano player, and he was supposed to play a show here in San Diego. They got canceled right when the thing kind of went down, and so I started listening to his recorded stuff because I'd only seen him live. But check him out if you're into jazz. Christian Sands, awesome. Wow, awesome.
That majestic creature.
Yeah. Mochi.
Hi, Hochi.
Oh, that's Mochi. There you go.
Say hi.
Like the cold treat.
That's right.
That's right.
Sorry, I'm living with my parents now, which is an interesting thing to do at 53 years old. But
no, I gotta add to that, Joey. I'm trying to get like a super punk drummer Zoom meeting going, and I talked to Paul from the Flatliners yesterday.
Yeah. Awesome.
And he said it exactly the way that like a Judd Apatow movie character would say it. He was like, "Yeah, I'm actually I just picked up some drums from the practice space. I'm driving right now. Yeah, I'm living with my mom right now. It's cool though."
Dude, you sound so much like him, bro. You're good at that impression.
Hey, thank you. I just pretended I was high.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Yeah. No, it's actually really nice. I pretty early on in this thing, I just thought, they could use some help. They're pretty old, and I came down here, and I grew up down here in Santa Barbara anyway, and so it's been really nice just to be here and, help out a little bit and all that stuff. Sorry, I keep getting texts. That's why I keep doing this fucking text threads, man. Hey, but my mom was asking me about dinner because I'm supposed to barbecue some stuff tonight.
Ooh, what do you think?
Beyond Burgers.
Okay.
which is funny because they've never, and Impossible Burgers. They've never had either. So I got both in ground beef form, and I want to make like hamburgers for them and give them the little test, like, try this.
Is this real or is this not? Right.
That's funny.
Yeah, no, they're not gonna like it, but you know.
Damn, man, I couldn't tell the difference. The first time I tried the Impossible Burger, I was like, this is so close. It's weird.
Yeah,
Put a bunch of Lowry's on it. No one will know the difference.
exactly. In a hamburger form with all the stuff you put on it, ketchup, mustard, whatever your thing is. I mean, it's great.
Yeah.
I put
So
bacon on
we'll
that.
see.
You know, that is my thing. That's my thing. Like at our local places, when I order, there's the vegan option is always like, man, this would be so good with just maybe some bacon on it as well.
You know, my wife actually does this thing where she has like a fake bacon that's really good. I think it's made out of seitan or something, and she makes, her whole thing is like a sourdough barbecue Beyond Burger, and then she puts this fake bacon on it and lettuce and tomato and all. And she's made me a few, and it's like, I don't know, it might be better than the other thing. You know what I mean? It's just so good.
All right. So my last little going around thing is just asking what the future is for you guys as artists, what you're planning on working on. Obviously, a lot of stuff has been canceled, but there's a lot of streaming and other things that are going on. Joey, do you want to go first and just kind of tell us what's on the horizon for all of your projects?
Well, there's sort of been an effort during the quarantine to do a Bad Astronaut song, and we're nearly finished with one song that had originally been intended to, we started a couple months ago, and it was supposed to be like a real quick, like, here's a song, and just put something out for a song in like 15 years, but have it done, separately in quarantine. And that is just about done. I don't know what's going to happen with that, because now we're thinking like, it's one song. Maybe we'll pocket it and work on some more songs. There's that. The other thing that I've been working on is I've been rehearsing a lot with Brian for these stage it shows. I didn't want to do any of these shows, but I did one, and it was fun, and it went really well, and I made a little money, which is great because I got bills to pay like anybody else. And then now I've done two, and we're doing a third one soon. And those things were kind of biting off more than we can chew, so it's pretty hard work, Brian would admit. Lucky for me, Brian's doing them with me, which is great. But I've been trying now more recently to write a lot, and I'm kind of putting together a little portable studio so that I can start working on a new solo album just here at my parents' house in this room that I'm living in. So I'm trying to just stay creative and do different things. It's cool.
Fantastic. Thank you. Now, Brian, what about you?
Well, the next couple weeks directly are going to be related to the next Stage It show we're doing. Are we allowed to talk about that, Joey? At least say what
I don't know.
Okay, I'll hold on.
I guess it's not like it's a big deal, but I think Anna, this woman friend of mine who manages my band and me and stuff, she's basically in charge, which is great because I don't care about any of that stuff. But she might get upset if we.
Brian, you have my phone number, dude.
Sorry, Anna.
You want to just let me know if I need to cut it?
Yeah, you can talk about it, and then we can cut it if need be. I mean,
yeah.
Well, it's just our next Stage It show. I'll leave it at that. But it's a great band of Joey's. That's probably and I've had a rekindled admiration for it, and it's been awesome. So anyways, we're working on that.
There's power of deduction.
Yeah, well, dude, you're in like 9 projects, dude. It's Afterburner, okay?
Is it the Playing Favorites?
Yeah, it's the Playing Favorites. No.
Yeah, Playing Favorites. Well, yeah.
So anyhow, that's yeah. Anyways, so that we're working on that, and anytime Joey and I get together, it's always good, honest, hard, music work, which is cool because I have to like go back and figure out how his brain works and how these chords are, which is fun. It's like a intellectual exercise for stuff. So I'm working on that a lot. And then Zach's going to be flying out here at the end of June to start. First of all, he has to pick up his car, which is sitting in my driveway. And so after we decided to start demoing new Bandaid Brigade. So we'll do that, and that'll be towards the end of June. And then
fantastic.
That's it, pretty much. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, whatever comes up, man.
Yeah.
Have you, speaking of Zach, have you been following any of his Instagram live stuff? I think he really needs to get to you sooner than later.
They really need to get what?
I think Zach really needs to get over to your place sooner than later. He's fucking bored, man.
Dude, I know. Trust me. Well, he kind of technically lives here. He lived here for a while. I have like a ton of his stuff here, like almost all of his personal belongings. There was a point where he like moved here, and then after our tour, he went home. But yeah, so he'll be back. But he's working on a solo record too. You know, so his solo record. He needs to finish, and we have a couple weird plans because when we work on the Bandaid Brigade stuff, sometimes it's not even like new music; it's like a new video. Like we have like 2 music videos that we never released that are ridiculous, but we're waiting for a time where it actually will matter or whatever. So sometimes we're like, yeah, we have a new idea for a TV show too, which is bizarre. So I don't know. Who knows what we'll do, but he'll be out here soon.
Do tell.
Well, full circle. That's why I thought that the Bandaid Brigade record was being worked on, because he was talking about Fogel and his solo stuff, and then I guess I just decided that Bandaid Brigade was his solo stuff.
Oh no, totally different. His solo record it's got a little bit of elements of what we do too. It's like his side of it, it's in it, but it's so good, man. I heard his the tracks without lyrics, and whenever we did that Bandaid Brigade show there, he showed me because he was finishing up his instrumental stuff when then we did that show, and it was fucking amazing. I'm like, dude, this is ridiculous. He's probably the most talented dude I've ever, it's just hard to explain how like raw his talent is, and a lot of people don't even realize it because he's like Pear's guy, and but watching him play guitar and watching him even play piano, like there's a song on our record, Nothing Else or Nothing Matters. And that piano part, it's like probably my favorite piano part of the whole album. And he wrote it. Like he actually wrote it. I played it on the record, but he could have played it. He let me play it just so I would feel like, okay, well, at least I played the piano on that song. But he really could have played it. And so his solo record I think is gonna be really, really well received. So
cool stuff.
Great.
Hi, Zach.
Yeah, if Fogel's attached to it, it's gonna be good as well.
Yeah.
Fucking machine. I can't believe it.
He's got a lot of good stuff going on, man. So
cool. Yeah. Well, I can bye, Joey. Thanks for giving us access to
bye, Joey. His phone probably died, or he just decided, I'm done with this now.
Yeah. Well, we got everything we needed to get and more. If you could just extend a big, thank you to him for taking the time.
Oh yeah.
Sure, please.
Sure. Thanks for doing this.